Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be checking out this guy, the Niceyrig side grip for the Sony ZV-1. Now when it comes to cages and grips for the ZV-1, there are a lot of options out there, but stick around and find out why I think this one might just be the ideal choice. Wait, I changed my mind. What? I changed my mind. The Smallrig is the best one. And why exactly is the Smallrig now the best one? Well, it's got a wooden grip. A wooden grip? That's it? Well, what's so special about yours? Well, for one thing, it's got a integrated Arca Swiss mount. Yeah, but it doesn't look as cool as this. It's not about the look, it's about the functionality. Well, who's to say mine functions any worse than yours? Ooh, let's do a comparison test. Today we're going to be doing a comparison test between two different grips for the Sony ZV-1. The Niceyrig side grip and the Smallrig. And the Smallrig side grip. Stick around and let's find out which one is the best. Can I? Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you. Before we get into it, just to mention, this video is not sponsored or paid for in any way. All of the equipment was purchased with my own money and the opinions are entirely my own. Check out the description where you will find the chapters of this video, so if you want to skip straight to a specific section, you can do that. I've also placed product links to the products featured throughout this video, as well as some of the equipment that's used to create this video. Now if you want to jump straight to the testing, I'll put the time code down here, you can jump straight to that part. But before we get to that, I just want to provide a little bit of background. Now for me, one of the things I like most about the ZV-1 is its super compact size. So I'm kind of reluctant to add anything to it that would increase its size and weight. So why do I want to add a grip to my ZV-1? Well, let me explain. Now the Sony engineers did an amazing job engineering this camera apart from one area, and that is the placement of the tripod mount. It's almost as if they went out of their way to put it in the absolute worst place possible. Now with most cameras you'll find the tripod mount normally centered under the lens, that would be somewhere over here, and Sony could probably easily have done that. But instead they chose to put it over here, immediately adjacent to the access door for the battery and the SD card. Now, as if that wasn't bad enough, they placed it in the center of the hinge. So if you attach a tripod, if you attach a grip, there is absolutely no way you're going to be able to access the battery or the SD card. So manufacturers of grips and cages, like the ones we're looking at, have ingenious ways of connecting to the camera that leaves complete access to the battery and SD card, even when the grip is attached. Okay, let's get down to some testing here. So we're going to look at 5 different categories. We're going to look at attaching and detaching the grip. We're going to look at access to the battery and SD card, size and weight, functionality, and finally we're going to look at aesthetics. Now for each of these 5 categories we're going to compare the two, and the winner will get a point for each one, and let's see which one comes out on top. Now attaching and detaching the Niceyrig is a little bit complicated. You basically have an included screwdriver, you have a 1/4 inch insert which goes into your tripod mount, and you'll notice that it has a threaded hole in the middle, and that is for this tiny little screw, which is what holds the mount in place. So we're going to start by placing the small insert into the tripod mount on the ZV-1. So here's our little insert, and it's a little bit awkward to get it started. Once you get it started, it's fairly easy, and then you can tighten it using the included screwdriver. Next, we put the grip in place, and now the fun part, we have to figure out how to get this tiny little screw into here. And there you have it. Detaching is obviously a reverse of the procedure. And of course, we have to also remove the insert if we wish to use the tripod mount for any other reason. You end up with these two screws that you have to keep an eye on. What you may wish to do is mount them in place, and that way you can avoid losing them. Now the Smallrig makes attachment a little bit easier. So we have a captive 1/4" screw in the mount that's permanently part of the mount. So we simply place the grip on the camera, and we use this time the included hex wrench to screw it in place, and we can really tighten that down, and that really feels actually very secure. And of course, detaching the mount is very easy. And of course, we end up again with the screw as part of the grip, so we don't have to worry about losing the screw. So when it comes to attaching and detaching the grip, I think the first round clearly goes to the Smallrig. So when it comes to accessing the battery and the SD card, the Niceyrig has a nice large opening, as you can see. No problem getting into the battery and SD card chamber. And you can see there are plenty of tripod mounting options to allow easy access. Here we have Sony's vlogging grip attached, and as you can see, still no issues being able to access the battery and the SD card. So let's look at SD card and battery access with the Smallrig. Again, you can see that the Smallrig has a nice large opening with plenty of room to be able to access the battery and the SD card here. And here too, with Sony's vlogging grip attached, you can see similarly no issues accessing the battery and SD card. So in this test, I think both grips performed perfectly. So we're going to call this a tie and award 1 point each for this one. So let's start out here by looking at how much size each of the grips adds to the ZV-1. If we look at the ZV-1 on its own, it has a width of 105 millimeters, a depth of 43 millimeters at its deepest point, which is at the lens, and a height of 60 millimeters. Adding the Niceyrig now increases the overall width fractionally now to 110 millimeters. The depth is fractionally more, but it's really negligible, and now the depth is mainly due to the grip, and frankly the grip is a welcome addition. The main increase in the dimension is in the height, which is now 69 millimeters. Moving on to the Smallrig, here too you can see that the overall width has increased marginally to 112 millimeters in this case. The depth is the same, again due to the grip, which again is a welcome addition. And here too, the main increase in overall size is due to the increase in height, which is exactly the same as the Niceyrig at 69 millimeters. So as far as size considerations are concerned, I really don't think there's anything to choose between the Niceyrig and the Smallrig. Now when you turn your attention to weight, that's a different story. Starting out again with just the camera, it tips the scale at 290 grams, that's 10.2 ounces, including battery and SD card. Adding the Niceyrig takes that up to 387 grams, or 13.7 ounces. Here, the Smallrig has a clear advantage, the total package weighing in at 359 grams, or 12.7 ounces, a full ounce lighter than the Niceyrig. So in this test, size would be a tie, but the weight advantage definitely gives the point to the Smallrig. So let's look at functionality starting with the Niceyrig. So starting out on the bottom, you can see we have a lot of 1/4-inch mounting points to choose from. Now that might seem like a lot, but keep in mind that having the holes there also helps to reduce the weight. Also, if we look at the side, you'll see again we have more than enough mounting points on the side. Keep in mind these can also be used to mount the camera for upright shooting here as well. On the base we have an integrated cold shoe for mounting an accessory, and it's located opposite to the Sony's own hot shoe. There is also an included wrist strap mounting point located down on the base here. And one of the features that actually caught my eye with the Niceyrig is this integrated Arca Swiss mount here, which makes it very easily to attach the camera to any Arca Swiss compatible mounting. As far as access is concerned, you can see there are no issues being able to access all of the controls and all of the ports. Okay, and let's look at functionality on the Smallrig. So starting on the base, similarly we have quite a range of 1/4-inch mounting points available, including one also added over here. On the side we also have an additional 5 1/4-inch mounting points. It also adds a couple on the top here. But keep in mind if you mount anything to one of these, it might be a little bit difficult accessing the function button here. And we also have a cold shoe located on the base as well, which, like the Niceyrig, is opposite to the hot shoe of the Sony. Like the Niceyrig, there is an attachment point for a wrist strap down here, but in addition, the Smallrig also provides an additional location for a wrist strap up here. As far as access to the camera is concerned, there are no issues in terms of being able to access all the controls and ports, except in one instance. You can see the side of the grip actually obscures access to the wrist strap mounting point on the camera itself. So if you did want to have something attached there and you want to take the grip on and off, you're going to have to remove it each time. So when it comes to functionality, we're going to give this round to the Niceyrig. Okay, so let's start out just looking at the ZV-1 by itself. Now, as great as this camera is, it's certainly not going to be winning any awards for its looks. The design of this camera is really basic and minimalist. So let's take a look at it now with each of our two grips attached. Starting with the Niceyrig, I find the Niceyrig has a very dated look, and I don't mean that in a good way. And even though, as we saw, there is negligible size difference between the two grips, it manages to make the camera look bulkier than the Smallrig. So overall, the Niceyrig, I think, actually detracts from the looks of an otherwise boring looking camera. Now, turning our attention to the Smallrig grip, here too we have a dated look, But now we're talking sleek retro looks. I think the contrasting colors of the grip help hide the overall addition to the size of the camera, and the addition of the black framing at the top and bottom of the grip help make it look like it was an integrated part of the original design. This clearly enhances the overall look of the camera. So when it comes to looks, for me there's one clear winner, and that's the Smallrig. So there you have it. The Smallrig wins out by 4 points to 2 points. Now, I still think the Niceyrig is a solid option. Personally, I'm not a fan of the styling, but everyone has their own opinion on that one. And remember, it did win out in the functionality round, in particular because of the inclusion of the Arca Swiss plate. So if functionality is your top priority, in particular if you're a heavy user of Arca Swiss mounts, then the Niceyrig might just be the best option for you. But for me, I'm going with the Smallrig for two main reasons. Number one, it's significantly lighter than the Niceyrig, which really appeals to me. But mainly, and this is just between us, right? The wooden handle really does make it look way cooler, right?
Told you so.
Thank you so much for watching today. If you have any comments, any questions, any suggestions for future videos, please go ahead and put those into the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and also consider subscribing to our channel for much more content around tech, travel, and leisure. Thank you again.